My name's Shaquan, but a lot of people know me by my other name, Mad Skills. I'm an MC.
My name is Mad Skills. Paris, make some noise!
I'm a DJ.
Oh, yeah!
I'm a ghostwriter for some of your favorite rappers. I'm not about to tell you who, though. But most importantly, I'm a hip-hop enthusiast. HipHopConfessions is raw, unfiltered conversations with my friends revealing things that they didn't like, never knew about,
I don't know.
or never got into about hip-hop culture. So sit back.
Oh, come on, y'all.
Turn up the volume.
Hip-hop.
And listen to HipHopConfessions. Because everybody's got one.
Here's a little story that must be told.
And it goes a little something like this.
What's good, world? It's your boy, Mad Skills. This is my podcast, Hip Hop Confessions, where I bring in my friends, my industry veterans, brothers, MCs, DJs, anybody that I know that just loves this culture as much as we do, and I get them to reveal something either hip-hop related, music related, something that they've never told the world, something that we like to call over here a hip-hop confession. And they get juicy. Listen, trust me, they do. I got one of my guys on, man. This guy right here is the lead editor. He's the lead hip-hop editor at Billboard Magazine, man, which is a big thing because, you know, if you guys know, like, that is the say-all, end-all of sales in all of music, you know what I'm saying? He's recently listed as one of the top 10 hip-hop journalists of 2022. He is behind that podcast that rocks out. You know what I mean? It's called Audio Mac Behind the Beat series. He hosts Grammy Conversations. He's funded a scholarship for young, inspiring journalists such as himself. And he also got a rap song out. I mean, what does this guy not do? You know what I mean? Give it up for my man in the building, man, right here on Hip Hop Confessions, the great Carl Lamarre. What's good, bro?
Man, Skills, how are you, brother, man? Wait. Oh, yeah, we go. You know what it is? I got a little, I'm so nervous because you know what it is? I'm talking to a GOAT in my day because can I give a quick confession before we even get started?
Of course.
You're not going to remember this. You were one of my first interviews.
Really?
Back in 2008, 2009, I was telling the guys before the show, you had the $1 million backpack.
Yeah.
And this is before I had any real placements. I was writing for a website called More Hip Hop. And I interviewed you back in 08, 09. I was doing a little bit of writing for HipHopGame.com.
Yeah. I remember HipHopGame.com.
You know, and you
were... So we did an interview before?
Yeah, bro. But I was in college at the time. I was like a freshman, sophomore at Howard, and I just got my feet wet in the hip-hop journalism game, and you were one of the first guys I spoke to, and I always appreciate how gracious you were and how your pen game was so freaking fluid, especially over the soulful beats, man.
Oh,
and
thank
how
you, man.
You terrorized the fucking yearly, the skills wrap up every year.
Right.
So I just wanted to put that out there to show there was a little, you know, commonality.
We got a little history. Damn.
A little something.
Yeah, I remember HipHopGame.com. That was, you know, that $1 million backpack was one of my favorites. It still goes down. It's just a good time in my life and just in music, you know what I mean? So, yeah, man, that's crazy. I didn't even know that. We already got a hip-hop confession out the gate.
Come on, man. Like, even taking it back, I can take it back even further, man. I remember you did the Life of the Party remix with Lil Brother, man. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite Lil Brother tracks, period.
Right.
You know, so when you got busy on that, I was like, ugh.
Yeah, those the homies, man. Shout out to Tay and Pooh, man. I love those dudes, man.
Of course. I apologize if I'm fanning, man. You gotta, because I'm all about giving flowers.
Fine.
I love giving flowers
bro.
to flowers are due, man.
I'll take them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'll take them, man. Like, listen, so, you know, writing about hip hop, I've had a few people on the podcast who, you know, it's usually a lot of, you know, rappers, musicians, producers. I've only had a few people that have actually, you know, their foray into hip hop music was journalism. You know what I mean? So how did you even get started in journalism? What even made you want to write about hip hop or write in general?
Man, I always tell this story. There was a show back in the day. I feel like an old head now. There was a show back on Nickelodeon called Doug. Mm-hmm. And Doug used to walk around with a journal. And I was so in love with the show, and I was just like, shit. You know, I want to walk around with a journal too. So I would always pen shit in there. And it would be poetry. It'd be raps too.
Right.
But when I really got into hip hop, so after I graduated from high school in 2007, I had my focus of being a sports journalist. And I went to Howard University, and I remember my friend.
The real HU.
The real HU, not Hampton. No shade. They got some girls over there. I know it's VA. I know it's VA. Y'all got some girls over there, though. Y'all got some girls over there. Shout out to
easy on the VA Hampton.
Easy. But shout out to Hampton. But I went to Howard, and there was this girl that I was very cool with, and she was telling me like, yo, there's some internships you should check out. One of them was Vibe. And, I loved hip hop, obviously, at the time, but I never thought about putting two and two together about writing and, hip hop writing, hip hop journalism.
Right.
My boy actually ended up sending me a link, and that Vibe was taking on internships or taking on interns. So I end up applying. I didn't hear back for 3 months.
Oh, wow.
I get a call on a Thursday, and they were like, yo, can you come in on Friday? Because we have one more slot available for the internship. And the internship starts that following Monday.
God damn.
So Skills, you got to understand, man. I'm like 19 years old. I'm a broke ass nigga. In school. My boys took me to go to Macy's to go get an outfit for the interview.
Right.
And I end up doing the interview. They end up picking me by the grace of God. I end up being the youngest intern there.
Mm-hmm.
And, I wasn't the greatest intern. Shout out to Danielle Smith, Elliot Smith, Elliot Wilson's wife.
Yeah, OG in the game.
Super OG. I was the trash intern because I was so scared of asking questions. I was super hungry, but I was scared. But, my drive ended up leading me to network with people. And me networking, I ended up writing for places like ballerstatus.com, ended up writing for hiphopgame.com. And I started interviewing people like yourself. Like my first interview ever was like with Joe Budden back in 2008.
Wow.
And Joe at the time was my favorite rapper. Right. So being able to interview your favorite rapper off the rip.
Yeah, off the rip. That's crazy. To come in the game like that is crazy.
Yeah, man. So that really put a battery in my back. Like, shit, if I could interview my favorite rapper off the rip, why can't I do this for real? And then by the grace of God, shit just started going up from there.
Damn, that's crazy, man. Wow. So 08 was when it all kicked in, and like that was the opportunity that started what you end up doing for a living.
Yeah, man. 08. And there was a point where I thought about dropping out of Howard altogether to really focus on hip hop journalism because I was already cutting class.
Right. Your focus was already somewhere else.
Bruh, I would cut class, and shout out to one of my mentors, Dr. Kendricks. But he hated the fact that I cut class. But one time he came in and I was using the classroom and I was interviewing Jadakiss on the phone for Hip Hop Game. And he was like, wait, what are you doing here? Aren't you supposed to be in class? And he hears here's Jada laughing in the background because we talking shit. He's like, is that who I think it is?
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, that's Jada. He's like, what the fuck you doing on the phone with Jadakiss? Nigga, go to class. But he was so amazed that, even though I didn't go to class and Skills, I finished school super late. It took me 7-8 years. I was a super duper senior.
Right.
But that was because I was so focused on other things. So instead of going to class, I was trying to make sure my interview game was on point, that I was meeting who I needed to meet, that I was networking.
Right.
So all throughout my college years, I was grinding.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing anything glamorous, making little to no money.
Right.
But I made the sacrifices I needed to.
Yeah. The grind ain't always glamorous. Most of the time it isn't. You know what I'm saying? I tell you, regardless of what it is, like you gotta put the hours in and put the work in. You know what I'm saying? I think sometimes these kids think that, they can hit a button or, they get some followers, they go viral or something, and it's like I did the work. And I'm like, that's a fraction. You know what I'm saying? That's a fraction of the work.
You know what's so crazy, man? Like, and swear to God on this, man. I literally just had a conversation with one of my peers in the industry today, and we were talking about entitlement. And we're kind of seeing that not even in just like journalism, but all across the board in the culture. Like with this newer generation, there's a sense of entitlement.
Facts.
And I feel like I'm kind of like an OG now where I can say like, shit, bro, like I came from an era where you had to put in that work.
Facts.
And you were just happy to be here. You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't getting paid until like seeing real bread, honestly, until 5 years ago when I started working for Billboard.
Right.
Other than that, man, I worked at Dollar Tree. I was a freaking stock boy. I worked at freaking the gym where I was a freaking porter cleaning toilets. All while I was in school and all while I was freelancing and doing interviews all at the same time. So yeah,
Right.
I might have a picture with I just did a fresh interview with Wiz Khalifa, but I also had to make sure I made my 7 a.m. shift to go clean some shit off the floor at the
Right.
gym. You
Right.
know?
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So speaking of the grind, you know what I'm saying? Clearly, it paid off as, as some would say, because I mean, you just got named, recently as one of the top 10 hip hop journalists in the game. Like, it's
Yeah,
a
thank
lot
you.
of people that write about hip hop, bro.
Yeah.
So to be in the top 10 of that era, like, if anybody even told me I was top 10 rappers in the world in the game, I'm like, all right, that's a lot of rappers. So, how does that make you feel? And can you give me a detail of your strong attributes and the things that make you feel like, that made them give you that title? Like, you know what I mean?
Skills, like ever since I was a kid, man, I've always been a strong manifester.
Mm-hmm.
I used to have a line back in the day, and I would say, "But be a legend." What would I say? By 27, I'm a legend. I would always
Mm-hmm.
tell myself, by 27, I'm a legend, and I would manifest certain things. I always said Billboard would be my dream job.
Right.
By 27, I'd write for Billboard. I got my first piece published at 26 at Billboard.
Wow.
You know, um, and I think my shiniest attribute, man, is just being able to be human, man. Like while I give flowers, like to everybody that I meet, I'm always happy to be here, man. But I take pride in such being in being a conversationalist and also listening. I think a
Right.
lot of cats nowadays, whether you're a journalist, whether you're a photographer, whether you're a creative, especially in the social media game, it's always about me, 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 me.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, it's not about the amount of followers you have. It's not about the freshest pick you got. I always wanted
Right.
to make sure I told the story of the person behind the pen, the person behind the mic. I took
Right.
such pride with every interview, no matter how big or small the artist is. I always would
Right.
do my homework, research, and always make sure I was able to absorb what was being told in the
Right.
story and just use my pen to craft it, man. And every time I talk to an artist, producer, whoever, it's a privilege, man, because being in this culture is a privilege. Like I don't treat this shit like it's just something, man. This is
Right.
hip hop, bruh.
Right. Right.
African
Changed a lot of our
Bambaataa.
lives. Yeah,
Come
changed
on,
a lot of our lives.
turning 50 next year. Like if
Yeah.
it wasn't for hip hop, man, so much shit wouldn't be around, man. So
Facts.
I feel like I'm a messenger, man, and I'm a gatekeeper for the culture, and I take that seriously and with pride.
That's dope. That's dope. So so speaking of, you like you said, you treat, every interview, what I mean, you do your research, what I'm saying,
Mm,
whether it's a new artist or a legacy artist or older artist. It just me just being curious. Has there ever
yeah.
been an artist that you wanted to cover and either it was like super hard to get the story or they kind of curved you, or is there somebody that you ever wanted to get that you couldn't just quite get that interview locked down, and why?
You know what's crazy? I wish you can see, because it goes back to me being a manifest. I wish you could see my vision board.
Mhm.
I make vision boards started since last year at the 1st of January every year,
Right.
and I only have 2 artists left on my bucket list. It's Drake and J. Cole. You know,
Wow.
everybody else I got.
Right.
And I bring up Cole because this was back maybe Born Sinner,
Mhm.
and I remember my
Love that
boy.
album,
Great
by
album.
the way. Yeah.
Great album. I remember my boy, shout out to Peter Caden. He was working at the Chamber Group, publicist for Cole at the time. He hit me up and said, "Yo, you want to come through to Best Buy and have an interview with him?" And at the time, I was writing for Dime magazine. I don't know
Mm.
if you
Mhm.
were familiar with Dime. Yeah, so it was a basketball publication, but with Dime, I ended up bringing the intersection of hip hop and hoops. And I realized
Right.
a lot of hip hop cats love talking about hoops. So obviously
Yeah.
Cole, that's
Of
easy
course, he
money right
played.
there.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
played. Yeah.
So he hits me up. He says, "Yo, I want you to do this interview with Cole." Man, skills. I went and I saw the line of the kids waiting. I don't even know if kids today realize what a CD signing was.
Right.
But
should be wrapped around a block.
Nigga, that shit was 6 blocks long.
Right.
And I remember me and my videographer waiting. We waited 5 hours. And I'm standing 5 feet away from Cole watching him sign. But I see him getting so tired.
Mm-hmm.
Peter
so
comes.
The last thing he probably gonna want to do is talk to you after this shit. Yeah. Facts.
Peter comes up to me like, yo, Carl, man. Is there any way we could is there any way we can do the interview next week? I'm like, yo, Pete, man, I just need 10 minutes. Because in my soul, something told me if I don't get this interview today, it's not gonna happen.
I'm not gonna get it. Right?
I'm not gonna get him. Because he at this point, he's crescendoing. He's going next level with it.
Right.
I'm like, Pete, are you sure there's 5 minutes? He's like, Carl, he's legit about to fall asleep. He's drooling right now.
Right.
So I'm like, okay. That was what was Born Center, 2011?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2010, 2011, somewhere around there. Yeah.
I have never been within reach.
Damn.
For Cole.
But
it's been 11
that
years.
Close.
I was that close. And not to say, I can't get Cole, but at this point, and you know it with Kendrick, Cole, Drake, they don't need press.
They don't.
They don't. And we had an opportunity to get Cole. We had Cole on the cover for Billboard back in this is around KOD.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I was just 2 years in as an editor. My team, I think they didn't feel like I was ready to do a cover story. So they ended up giving it to a freelancer. And, I'm a competitive dude at the end of the day. I treat it like sports. And I was like, you going to give this nigga this shot over me?
Right.
The story ended up coming out okay. But, yeah, that was the last time we had Cole.
Right.
And I tried shooting for him again at Dreamville Fest back in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up interviewing Ebe, his manager. I'm cool with Ebe.
Yeah, nah.
So
He's a good dude.
They know I'm waiting.
Right. Nah, it'll happen. You know, the fest, we gonna make that happen.
So
you know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Elliot. That's one of my big dogs, my big mentors. Him and B-Dot ended up interviewing Cole at Dreamville.
Mm-hmm.
And then last year we had the opportunity to put, or not, was it last year? Last year we had the opportunity to put him on the cover for Power Players, but we ended up going with Lil Baby, and that was a story I wrote.
Right.
So
it's
there. So
right.
Cole,
it'll happen.
Yeah, Cole is there. It's there.
It'll happen. All right. Well, has there ever been a story that you wish you wrote? You ever looked at something and been like, damn, that was a phenomenal story. Not I wish I had the opportunity, but this is why this person is where they are. Like, damn, this was a good read. You know what I mean? Like, you ever had a story run across your radar like that?
Man, that's a great question. Recently, I'm gonna say no.
Right.
And that's only and this is just, it's unfortunate, but it speaks to the quality of journalism right now.
Facts.
The game is kind of saturated with trash.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not a lot of skilled writers left.
Right.
And to be honest with you, when I look for that fire read, it's probably from one of my mentors. It's probably from a Daytwan Thomas from Vibe.
That's what I was about to ask you next. Like, what are some people that have inspired you from past and present? You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, no, Daytwan is definitely one of them. That's still my OG.
Nah, shout out to D, yeah.
Yeah, I'm grateful to know that. We still work in the same office. I was just with him yesterday, and he continuously gives me gems.
Right.
I'm so thankful. Elliot Wilson.
Elliot, yeah.
Another big dog of mine, man. And, even just going over to sports, because I still have a strong sports background. Like, shout out to Scoop Jackson, Slam Magazine.
Yeah. Scoop, yeah.
Man, I'm waiting for the day to meet Scoop to just give him his flowers, because what he did, bro, my parents used to order me magazines to read. I would get the fucking highlights book. I don't know if you remember the highlights for kids. I would get highlights, and then I would get Slam. And I was a super avid reader of Slam Magazine. Anything Scoop Jackson touched was fucking gold, man.
Right.
So, yeah, and Stephen A. Smith, of course. So those are my, if you think about it, that's my Mount Rushmore right there.
I got it.
Yeah.
So you work for Billboard Magazine. You're the head hip hop guy over there. What is a day, because a lot of people don't even know because I don't know. Like, what is a day in the life like at Billboard Magazine? You know what I'm saying?
Man, it's a lot, to be honest with you. And I'm so grateful, to God because man, the emails and calls I get, you'd be surprised. Like I'm like, how the fuck did this nigga get my number? And I deal with this to this day. People just
Right.
finding out ways to text me, call me. It's a lot of answering emails. It's a lot of calls. It's a lot of meetings. It's a lot of interviews. It's a lot of transcriptions. It's a lot of assigning news stories. It's a lot of editing stories, and it if this was me 5 years ago, like I remember when I first started at Billboard, I didn't get a fucking training. Billboard's my first full-time job, by the way, in journalism.
Oh wow.
It's my first full-time
Damn, so
job.
it was nothing before that. It was
No, it was just
interns,
freelance.
freelance shit, and then boom.
You know what's crazy? I freelanced at a couple places, man. XXL, Complex, MySpace, a lot of dope spots. Shout out to Vanessa Satin who gave me a shot at XXL, Complex. I was considered the go-to freelancer. So if there was a thing where it's like, yo, he's a top free agent of freelancers, that was me.
Right.
But cats never thought I was, for whatever reason, good enough to have a full-time job.
Right.
But I say that to go back to when I first started at Billboard. My first 2 months, I didn't get no kind of training. They just threw me in the motherfucker.
Wow.
And bro, when
crazy.
I say I cried. I cried at the office one night. It was like 8 o'clock because I was so overwhelmed.
Right.
And, the position that I have, I take it so seriously because skills, there's not a lot of this
Yeah. Right.
in the building.
Right.
So the pressure and the responsibility of knowing, yo, I'm at arguably the biggest publication outside of Rolling Stone, and I'm a black man doing this.
Right.
That was tremendous pressure because I didn't want to fuck up.
Right.
I want to make sure we're represented on all fronts, not just the top 40 cats, the cats of the underground, the emerging cats. After some time, and shout out to Gail,
the legacy cat.
the legacy cats.
Yeah.
Shout out to my counterpart Gail Mitchell, who I consider my mentor as well. Shit, no, you got to throw her in my Mount Rushmore. There's 5 now.
Right.
If it wasn't for her, she's been in the game for over 25 plus years, at Billboard for over 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Without her, and she runs she's executive director of R&B hip hop. If it wasn't for her, I don't know where I'd be right now with this company. She's my backbone in this game.
That's crazy, man. Do you have any articles that you're most proud of?
It's like picking
Like
trying to
any
pick
of them
one.
where you like you step back like yo, I bodied that shit. Like I still got that shit in the tuck. Like you know what I'm saying? Save. Like that was a good one.
You know what's crazy? I wish you could see this too, man. My apartment, I have all of my cover stories like literally printed out. It's like a huge canvas.
As you should.
It's like those are I consider my championships. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah,
So-
I put it on the wall. Yeah.
So my first cover story was with DaBaby back in 2019, and this is when Baby was going crazy. He had Suge. He was doing all the features. He was the guy.
Right.
And I remember, and I love the fact that my team and my overall team at Billboard, they trust me. And I was saying, yo, this is the guy right here. He's like the rookie of the year right now in hip hop. You need to give him that
we
cover.
need to cover this dude. Right.
We need to cover this dude. And they gave me that opportunity as my first cover. And to this day,
Wow.
shout out to my brother DaBaby, man. Like I saw him, we had dinner at Say Less just a couple weeks ago. And at the same time I wrote my cover story, just a few months before, I lost my father, R.I.P. He passed away from cancer. And DaBaby lost his father that same year. So we're in the sprinter for the convo, and we're talking about achieving success at such a high level, but losing the biggest thing in your life. So that's why that cover story, that story itself, it has such sentimental value to me.
I totally understand that.
Yeah.
I totally understand that. That makes sense. And so when it comes down to covering, hip hop in some of these publications that have somebody in the building that know what it is, and then you, like you said, you got a lot of people in the building that don't really know what it is or what it means to people. Like, what are some of the stereotypes that you might run into when we talk about covering hip hop in journalism? Like, is there any type stereotypes? Because with rappers and MCs, of course it's race, and of course it's like the self-expression of the music. But the music has already have been made by the time y'all are covering it, or that person has already made a couple They made a couple dents in the game to where they need to be covered, or this person is the new up and coming thing. What kind of stereotypes do you face, if any, in hip hop journalism?
Man, I will say this, especially for our company, because we're the authority publication in music, and obviously we cover the charts. I think there's a huge misconception that just because you have X amount of chart hits, and I'm talking in terms of hip hop, you have X amount of chart hits, that's equivalent to how nice you are. Just because
just because you're on the charts don't mean that you're nice.
And that's why I made it my priority to this day, and it still is. I don't cover just cats on the charts.
Right.
And shout out to my team. We back in what was it, 2020, 2021, we started a new franchise called Rookie of the Month. And that's catered to R&B hip hop artists. And it's not necessarily focused on the charts. I wanted to take it back to the source, unsigned hype type shit back in the day, where it's about buzz, where it's about talent.
I'm in a know now.
Go ahead.
Like,
Yeah. Here we go.
I know what it meant. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I know what it meant to the culture.
That's what I'm saying, because you know what it is, man? Like, it's so easy to get lost in the numbers. Sure, if you have chart hits, I'm not taking that away from you. But let's talk about impact.
Right.
Let's get back to talking about creating a buzz in the streets. I'm born in '89. I'm thinking about Hot 97. I'm thinking about cats coming up to flex, coming up to the booth, making that impact. So
having the streets talking.
Having the
way
streets
before
talking.
a record come out or a cover or anything. Like, yo, he that dude. Like we put the ball in his hands and he hit the buzzer beater.
That's
and he
what
did it a couple times. He deserved that shot.
You already know the vibe, Skills. I don't even got to tell you. And that's why I say shout out to my mentor, Daytwan Thomas, because even with the XXL Freshman, man, that's something that I love and appreciate so much, because it wasn't just about numbers. It was about skills. It's about putting the eye test to determine the talent of an act. So that's what I'll probably say.
That's dope. So, because usually, when I'm on talking to, people who are MCs or DJs, I ask them about their top 5, but I kind of want to switch it up with this one.
Okay.
And I want to ask you your top 5 most important or influential, because I don't even know if we have 5, so it might even not be 5, but your top hip hop publications, period,
of all time.
Of all time. Now, in no particular order.
Yeah. Vibe.
Yeah, Quincy. Shout out to Quincy Jones.
Shout out to Quincy Jones.
Even though Vibe was only created because of the source. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But Vibe had some iconic covers, man.
It did. Vibe was the first. I remember Vibe being the first magazine. I remember being like, damn, this shit big as hell.
Yo, this shit is super thick.
It's super fucking big. Like it was just a big ass magazine, because I know they were trying to in the same vein as Rolling Stone. Okay, so Vibe is one.
Vibe is one of them. XXL,
of course.
The Source,
of course.
And I feel like I gotta show love to the blog era, man. I gotta go Rap Radar.
Yeah,
I gotta go Rap Radar for how it transcended, and then I'm gonna go Nah Right. I'm gonna go between Nah Right and HipHopGame.com. So I'm a little biased on Hip Hop Game, but I'm gonna go with Nah Right. Yeah. And Hip Hop Game.
A lot of cats forget how big the blog era was. You know what I'm saying? 08, 09, 2010. Like
Skills. That's my era. That's my era.
You know what I'm saying? When physical shit, started to slow down, hand to hand started slowing down, and these kids was on these computers every day. You know what I mean? And you was getting chat rooms and message boards and shit. So, for me, it was, of course, I was, it's OK Player.
Yeah, OK Player.
That's the Source, of course. OK Player. I'm going back and forth between them. Two Dope Boys was
shout
very
out
big.
to Mecca. Yeah.
Shout out to Mecca and Shake. You know what I'm saying? Nah Right, of course. Rap Radar. You know what I mean? You know what magazine of course I loved XXL, because it just always looks so gritty. But you know what magazine I loved? It didn't have a long shelf life, but I loved it. Remember Blaze?
Blaze, shout out to Daytwan, man.
Yeah, Blaze, man. I remember Blaze. I remember Honey. Remember Honey magazine?
You remember King? Shout out to Daytwan again.
Smooth magazine. Was King. Yeah.
You feel me?
Damn, that's right. Yeah.
And you know what's crazy? Shout out to Smooth Magazine. That was my first print publication back in the day that I wrote for.
Oh wow,
Smooth,
that's crazy,
Smooth magazine.
man.
Yeah, shout out to my
Smooth.
boy.
Then you
Yeah.
always had the upstate New York hood, made the Don Divas and
Yeah.
you know what I mean, the Fed joints and shit.
They had
man.
Ride. Yeah, come
Yeah,
on,
Dub,
man.
the card magazines.
Yeah, man.
Nah, man. Those were the days because I was telling somebody earlier today, like I used to buy Source magazines 2 at a time.
Man.
Almost like sneakers, like put a pair on ice and read this one. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't wait. I used to have a subscription, but I used to hate paying for it every month and then it'll get to my house late, but I see it at the record store, and if I see it, I gotta get it.
You
You know
got
what I
to.
mean? So man, those publications was everything to us because it was almost like that's how we knew what was what was coming, what was dope, the impact. Like you said, we knew we could feel it in the streets, but they also showed us. I remember the Source had the Source van. That shit used to go to colleges and shit.
It went to my high school back in the day. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Shit, when the Source van pulled up and you got some promo CDs and a free fucking Source magazine, you might got a little gym bag or some shit. Nah, man, those are the days.
But you know what's
the
crazy?
Sauce.
The publications were treated like record labels. They were like real competitive battles, like Elliot against Benzino, XXL against the Source. You know what I'm saying? YN over at XL, his wife's over at Vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like there was still that competitive fervor, and I always jokingly say, I'm like, shit, man, I'm grateful where I'm at, obviously, but if I was a journalist back in the 90s, 2000,
right.
Oh, man.
Had that shit on lock.
Sheesh. But it was so much competition back then, man. So,
right.
Yeah.
Right. So speaking of competition back then and how we are now, and how we get our media now. So what would you say? How does today different from how we covered, hip hop in the past with the invention of social media and technology?
Man, you know what's so crazy, and I fall victim to this as myself because of social media, man. Let's say you're on Instagram. You go down, you're probably following the Shade Room or you're probably following XXL.
I don't follow no gossip blogs.
Even better. Thank you for that. But I
don't follow none of them. I don't want to see that shit. Because my thing is, it's so much, not to cut you off, but it's much bullshit. It's so much bullshit that I don't care about and I don't want to know about. I'm like, if this shit make the 6 o'clock news, then I need to know about it. I don't give a fuck who threw a shoe at whoever. Or
That's
who
real though.
you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, if it gets big enough, it'll make it to my ears.
But
I don't want to, I like to see, funny shit. I like to see positive shit and uplifting, enlightenment, and the homies. I don't want to see no gossip shit.
And you know what? And I don't blame you because you walked into my point. A lot of people now, unfortunately, back in the day, we would type in 2 dope boys. We would type in XXL.com. Now, because of the advent of social media, all you got to do is go down your timeline. They have the headline. That's the story. People don't even bother to click to read the story. They're going off the headline. And what's so unfortunate now, something like a Shade Room, a lot of places are doing salacious clickbaity headlines.
Yeah.
So you're not getting the real story.
Right.
You just look at the headline and you're
they
like,
just
okay.
need you to click.
That's it.
And it's funny because a lot of times they'll say click bio for more. Don't nobody ever click
Nobody
more.
clicks it. Because you know why? It's a thing where it's like, yo, Chris Rock slaps the shit out. I mean, Will Smith slaps the shit out of Chris Rock. That's all I see, and that's all I feel like. I know what the story is. That's all I need to know.
Right.
I don't need to know how it got there.
Right. Damn.
You know?
Yeah, you right. When you think about it, damn, that is right.
So the appetite is different, man, and it kills me because readership. There's still people that read, but a lot of people want that quick fix versus having to read fucking 2,000, 2,500 words of a story.
Right. Because it's almost like when I think about it, like, the actual print magazines and shit have become a way of the past because, you know what I'm saying, we like you said, it's so clickbait. It's that salacious headline. We don't want to read 2,500 words, this and that third. It's almost like social media put Playboy out of fucking business. I don't even want to get a magazine with naked girls on it because girls naked all day on the gram.
On the gram. I got my quick fix right there.
I need to pay for. I need a mag $7.99 for what?
What?
Like, I ain't paying for that.
Nah. You know what it is? They're not paying $7.99 for the mag, but they're paying $7.99 for the OnlyFans.
Facts, but I ain't that into. I'm not that into you being naked. Like, I'm the worst, bro.
Shit.
Like I'm even a strip club snob. I only been to 2 strip clubs in my life because I don't believe in giving you no money because you naked. Like if I ever went like the homie, bro. If I ever went like and the homie was like, yo, we all meeting, and I'm like, all right, cool, I roll with y'all, you know what I'm saying? Oh, so Kev getting married, man, we all going, all right, cool, I'm here. Soon as the girl walk over and say, hey, daddy, like, I'm like, baby, go ahead, I'm not gonna give you no money. Can you bring me some more ranch for these wings, though? But I'm not giving you because I don't even want to waste her time.
That's real.
You know what I'm saying? I don't even want to waste your time, baby girl. Go ahead, go. See that dude right there with the beard?
He got you.
He got you. I'm not gonna give you no money because you naked, boo.
Listen, I will say this: strip club food is amazing, very underrated. But but no, I agree with you 100%. I think it's crazy you saying that because I feel like VA probably has some popping ass strip clubs.
Probably do. I wouldn't even know.
I wouldn't even know. I love that.
Ride by that motherfucker every day. Wouldn't even know. So listen,
I love that.
The pod is called Hip Hop Confessions.
Of course.
So we gonna get straight into it. I need it from you, Carl.
Yeah.
What is your hip hop confession?
Man, I have a few, and I was telling the guys earlier. So I'm gonna take it like incremental steps. I'm gonna do baby steps.
Bet.
I'm gonna go with lightest to probably my most favorite. So when Watch the Throne came out, we had a huge listening party.
I never liked that album.
Can I give you a virtual high five?
Yeah.
Can I give you a virtual high five? Because that's my confession right there. I hated the shit out of that album when it came out. Hated the shit out. I was telling the guy that because I was thinking about it, I'm like, yo, we had a listening party, literally my boys and I, but I blame it on the fact that because I love it now, I think I wasn't equipped or in the right state of mind to appreciate that kind of work. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on why it was. I thought it was too decadent and snobbish because I can't relate to any of the shit these niggas is talking about. The beats, obviously, they're glossy as shit. You feel me? It sounds good, it sounds clean, but there's no relatability.
You know why I was mad about it? Because you fucking pump fake me with Otis.
Otis is hard.
You pump fake me with Otis. So when I heard Otis, I'm like, oh, these two niggas about to make a hip hop album. Niggas was like, oh, RZA's on the album.
Yeah.
We got a classic Pete Rock beat on the album. Fucking the Neptunes on. I'm like, because at this point in their career, I'm like, these two guys can make a boom bap hip hop album and it's still going #1 because of who they are.
Yeah.
When I listened to that shit, I was like, if I was in Ireland and I had an old castle as a hotel and my whole crew was staying there and it had a moat in it. And I was eating dinner with Bono, and Gwyneth Paltrow came over, and we had snails and escargot. This is the album that I would have known. And if that was what they was doing, and remember when the blogs threw up the quick little Watch the Throne documentary, and I saw the making of it, live at the Mercer. I was like, okay, I get it.
In the hotel rooms, yeah.
I couldn't get jiggy with that shit at all.
Because you know what it is, but they still have some joints on there like New Day that RZA did.
Like
really, I still like that. I like Murder
Otis.
for Excellence, yeah.
I like Otis and Niggas in Paris.
Shout out to Hit Boy.
Oh, I like Church No Church in the Wild.
No Church in the Wild, yeah. Like it's tough, man, because you know what it is, and I give Hov a pass on this, man, and this is why Hov is my GOAT, but this is why cats like Kendrick, man, are climbing up the fucking ladder.
So Hov is your GOAT?
Yeah.
That's dope. I ain't mad at you.
Yeah, no. And I say that, I mean, And I'm not
Damn,
even talking off the
I
stats.
wrote for your GOAT. That's crazy.
Not, oh, hey! I mean, listen, I know you top 5 ghostwriters. Don't do that.
Not a song. I'm talking about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction rhyme. I ain't talking about a song.
I was gonna say, because I know you top 5 ghostwriters. I mean, shit. If there's something I need to know,
I ain't never wrote for Hov in that manner. I ain't even gonna cap that. I did write for him, but it wasn't a song.
I love that. Like Hov is my GOAT, man, because I think of like just the memories that come with me growing up in hip hop, man. Reasonable Doubt, fucking unruly, man. That shit's fucking. Blueprint is my favorite Hov album. Blueprint, Black Album. And I said this to my boy over the weekend. If he decides to say fuck it after 444, that's how you walk out.
That's how you go out. Yeah.
That's how you go out.
Yeah.
And so he's my GOAT. If I say my GOAT right now, I mean, I think it's Drake. It's a toss-up between Drake and Kendrick.
Hell of a run that Drake is still on. I've never seen it. Hov didn't even have a run like that. Drake is on like his 11th, 12th summer.
So let me ask you this, man, and I don't want to deviate but I'm curious. This is the journalist in me now asking, man, because obviously your pen potent as fuck, Hall of Fame worthy. Did the ghostwriting allegations take away any luster for you as far as Drake's excellence and what he does as an MC?
Nah, because I didn't feel like, sometimes somebody just give you some shit handwritten on a platter that's just good, and it's good business sense to take it. It was good business sense for Ye to take Jesus Walks.
Shout out to Ron.
It was just good business sense. Like, ain't nobody ever heard no shit like this before. You can do it. It might end up on your mixtape. It might get a couple plays on your whatever. If I do it, it's going to change the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's exactly what happens. So sometimes it's smart enough to be the smartest person in the room. Like, yo, I'm a how that go again? Oh, that's fire. Like, you know what I'm saying? And all I got to do is give you some credit and make sure you get paid. You know what I mean? Because when I tell people all the time, like when I send out references, or say I work with a R&B artist and she's singing the songs and we cutting the demos, I always tell the person, don't over sing it. Like I want you to under sing it, because I don't want to send this to somebody and they go, well, shit, who is this? Because she killed this shit. No.
Y'all don't need me on this shit.
I don't want nobody to go, what I'm supposed to do with that? I want somebody to hear the reference and go, yo, that shit fire, nigga. Send me the files. I'm going to kill it.
Watch where I take it. Exactly.
Watch what I do with it. You don't want people to go, who is this singing? Because that means they like the person. I don't want you to like the person, like the song. I don't want you to like the person. You know what I mean? So you wasn't crazy about Watch the Throne. Well, we in the same boat on that.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about it. I appreciate it more now that I'm older. But yeah, that was one of my gripes back in the day.
What's the next one?
So
you said you're going in increments.
I'm going increments. I didn't tell the guys about this one because it literally just popped in my head as you were talking. So shout out to my brother Rick Ross. Shout out to Rose. I went to his house at the start of the pandemic. I went to the Promised Land.
Right.
And
Coming to America house.
Yeah. Eddie Murphy wasn't there though. I end up doing a video interview with him, and this is probably the first interview I've done in person. This is at the start of the pandemic.
Okay.
So this is not the start of the pandemic. This is when shit starts calming down a little bit. This is February 2021. We go to his house right before Super Bowl weekend. We kill the interview. It's all good and everything. Before that interview, one man, I ended up re-sparking the 50 Cent Rick Ross feud.
Oh, shit.
I'm going to tell you how I did that. I interviewed 50 around the time R.I.P. Pop Smoke. Pop Smoke's album came out. And 50 executive produced that album. So I interviewed 50 for Billboard. It was on Zoom. And I remember there was a clip going around. And XXL had posted the clip, and it was a clip of Rick Ross singing 50's verse on Hate It or Love It.
Ooh.
That's a fucking nugget if I'm a journalist.
Yes.
So I'm talking to Fifth, and I'm like, yo, Fifth, I got to ask you, because I always save my controversial questions for the end. so it doesn't fuck up
because you don't want anybody interviews over.
Niggas will walk out.
We're done here.
Yeah, I'm good. But I know Fifth's not gonna walk away from it. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm curious to see where he takes it. So I'm like, yo, Fifth, there's a clip going around of Ross singing "Hate It or Love It," and he said, "This is the best shit this nigga ever wrote." So Fifth, I'm gonna flip it on you. If you could pick a song or verse that's your favorite of Rick Ross, what would you pick and why? And he's like, yo,
Hustling.
Nope. I like that joint. I think I'm Big Meech. Larry Hoover. He's talking about BMF. And he was like, yo, I ain't gonna lie to you. Before the show came out, I ain't gonna lie to you. When I heard that shit, I said, yo, that nigga got it. Of course, you know, Fifth's always gonna come with the backhanded compliment, like, yo, you know, I fuck with it, but that nigga's still a fed. That nigga's still a fed. I don't really fuck with him like that, but that shit's hard. And you know what?
He's not gonna give you the whole compliment.
I might go far enough and try to holler at him and try to see if I can get the record on BMF. So Skills, you know what ends up happening? God works in mysterious ways. 2 weeks later, I have an interview with Ross. And I'm like, yo, Ross, you know, I spoke to Fifth the other day. And Fifth told me his favorite song of yours was BMF.
Right.
Would you clear it for the show? And he's like, yo, Carl, that little nigga told you that song was his favorite? I'll clear it under one condition. He has to go to Checkers. Matter of fact, now he has to go to a Wingstop. He has to hold a Bel Air bottle in front of Wingstop. And he has to tell the world how Rick Ross is his favorite rapper.
That's why I didn't have.
I want him to see all decked out with the block bottle promoting my shit.
Yeah, Bel Air. Yeah.
It gets to the point where fucking one of the niggas that's close to Big Meech ends up commenting on the whole back and forth because that shit ended up going viral.
Right, I remember that.
It ended up going viral to the point the nigga's like, yo, I'm cool with 50. I'm cool. Like, there's no bad blood.
Right, we good over here.
We good. Now I'm going to take you back to when I went to Ross's house. I go to Ross's house. This was months after the shit. Ross is lit. He's looking over the water. He has like a huge ass fucking pond. Right. And I'm like, yo, Ross. Yeah, I'm like, yo, Ross, why you never cleared that shit for Fifth? He's like, you want me to tell you why I never cleared that shit for that little nigga? Come here, I want to show you something. You see that fucking water? Carl, my mother could come right now and she can go catch some fish with her bare hand in that water. That monkey could never do that. Why would I give that monkey any money? I'm not giving that monkey no money. I love power, but I'm not giving that monkey no money.
Right.
So
it's
literally,
shit you just don't do.
There's certain shit you just don't do.
I'm not gonna help you, nigga.
There's certain shit.
Another song.
But Skills, you know what's so crazy? And I was thinking to myself at the time, I was like, yo, it would be so big for hip hop if these niggas ended up doing a verses together. Like, I know 50, I mean, Ross did his verses already, but if you do like a 50 and Ross or 50 and Ja, that would be a game changer.
Now, mind you, I do realize that sometimes niggas want to see the beef end, right? Because I've been on the other end of that. Niggas, I think for the culture, man, y'all niggas
for the culture
out. And I be like, nah, fuck that nigga and the culture. If that's what you want me to do. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it ain't no bag involved. Because like we was just talking earlier, you know what I'm saying? It be the disrespect. So it's like, nigga, and I'm a Gemini, so I have a hard time. I have a hard time forgetting what a nigga said.
1,000%.
So I'm like, but remember that time you said.
But Skills, I'm going to fuck your head up right here. If Gucci and Jeezy, Gucci killed Jeezy's mans. Jeezy sent a nigga to go kill Gucci.
In self-defense.
Yeah, but you killed my man.
You sent a nigga to kill me and I put him in a box.
But you telling me them niggas could sit for 90 minutes, 2 hours and do a verses, but other niggas can't?
They grew up. Them niggas grew up. You got to grow up. And here, listen, Listen, I'm gonna tell you a line that one of your favorite rappers said. Listen. He said they do it like they fathers did. They never show up.
Shut up.
It's a lot of niggas getting older, but they don't grow
never
up.
grow up. Yeah.
It's a lot of niggas getting older, but they never grow up. It's a mind thing, bro. So now mind you, them two niggas, Jeezy is a different person now.
Of course, he's
Jeezy.
Reverend Jeezy.
Listen, the snowman is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that man has moved on. That man's life is different. That man a weight guru. Nigga's skin look like Beverly Johnson out here. Like, you know what I'm saying? He looked good. Gucci did the same thing. Glowed up.
Yeah,
Gucci glowed up and did so better for his inner self. When that nigga came out, we didn't even know if he was the same person. That's a fucking glow up.
He is one of the nicest niggas to this day. This was the same nigga that slapped women on stage. Go ahead.
But that nigga still be like, hey, fuck that nigga.
He has and that's the thing, he has a trigger. And he showed a little bit of that side at the verses, in the verses.
Yeah. We smoking on Pookie tonight.
Yeah.
Said,
It came in flashes, but when it came, nah.
I felt bad, but hey, man, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So that's. Is it one more after that?
I'll give one more and a bonus. I'm gonna give my Currency story. So back out when I was at
Currency.
Shout out to Spitter, man.
Yeah.
When I was at Howard, man, this is my sophomore year.
What year did you come out of Howard?
So I went to Howard for 2 years. I went from 07 to 09, and then I transferred back to New York, and I finished here.
You from New York?
I'm originally from New York, yeah.
Okay, got you. All right.
So
Currency.
So Spitter used to work with my boy. Shout out Devin Chanda. He was a kid I grew up with back in Long Island and went to high school with. He was actually the first dude who gave me my first print publication article because he was an editor at Smooth Magazine. So this is a kid my age, an editor at Smooth Magazine at the same time. And him and Currency were cool or whatever. I think he gives Spitter my number. I interviewed Spitter. And he knew Devin. I interviewed Spitter, and it got to the point where Spitter would call me while I'm in class, just randomly, a bunch of times. And he would call me for career advice. Oh, so this is around the time, nigga, I'm 19 years old. So
you want me to tell you about your career?
You feel me? And this is after he leaves the whole Young Money situation, with Wayne and everything.
Right.
And he's like, yo, big dog. I don't know. You feel me?
You like, I'm still a pup, nigga.
You feel me? He's like, yo, big dog, like, the machine, man. I don't be fucking with them niggas, man. He used to call the big label the machine.
Right.
I don't know if I wanna entertain it. So I told you, Joe was one of my favorite rappers, and he was somebody like I was very close to in terms of the interviews. I remember Joe put out an album in 2009. I think it was Padded Room. And he did it under this label called Amalgam Digital. Mm-hmm. And I was telling Spitter, I'm like, yo, Spitter, since you tripping so much off these labels, there's a spot that I think you would like. Joe just put out his album there. Go check out Amalgam Digital. He's like, Amalgam Digital. I'm like, yeah, bro. Like, go check it out and see what's up.
Right.
Skills, Test the water. Skills, I did not hear from that man again. But guess what? His next project was under Amalgam Digital.
Wow, that's dope.
Ended up signing with Amalgam Digital. Did a few Jet Life projects off there.
Right. Man. That's hard.
Yeah.
Yo, big dog.
Yo, big dog. Yo, big dog. But you know what I love about that story is because he's a pillar for independent artists, man. He's continued that path ever since then. And, he's one of the legacy acts that still continue to thrive on that circuit. I know a bunch of labels came after him, major labels, and he still said no. Right. So that's dope. Still maintaining your independence after a decade. Yeah,
that's dope, man. That's dope. I always fuck with Spitter, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Some cats on my team, you know what I'm saying, have done videos for him or whatever. Like, I've always been a fan of his work and just his, you know what I'm saying, his productivity. So it's crazy that he Damn, yo, big dog.
I wish I got a credit or something. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Thank you. And
thank-
back
you know
then it
what I'm
was
saying?
digital and shit. That's
man,
crazy, man.
I didn't even get a text back or nothing, but it's all good though. Shout out to Spitter, man.
Hey man, listen, it does happen, man. It does happen. It's a
And
cool
then
dude.
can I give you my bonus?
Yes, let's go.
Actually, shit, I'm stuck, man. I'm not sure which one you like. If you allow me to give you two more,
Let's go.
so I'll go with this one. I'll go with a different way. So shout out to Mickey Fax. That's my brother, man. Super dope spitter. I think he's a Jedi with the words.
Yes, very much so.
I remember this is around the time of 2010, 2011. So around this time, I'm still freelancing. I interviewed Mick for Hip Hop Game. He loved it. Stayed in touch.
Mhm.
I remember I'm working on my own music at the time and putting together a project. And my boys were like, yo, you cool with Mick. Why don't you hit up Mick, man? Why don't you see what's up?
Mhm.
So I'm like, I bet I'm going to hit up Mick. So I hit up Mick like, yo, Mick, man, I don't know if I ever told you this, but I rap. He was like, word? Send me something. So Skills, I'm mad shook. I'm like, yo, what record I'm going to send him? They're like, yo, send him that Never Looking Back record. You just finished that shit. Shit is hard. I'm like, I bet. This is my first single ever. I send it to Mick. Mick takes forever to answer me. Finally hits me back. And he puts, yo! So literally, I'm OD hyped. I'm like, yo, I think Mick just hit me back. He said, yo. Mick said, yo, dog. That beat? Yo, that shit is hard. And I'm like, word. I'm like, so I'm like, yo, Mick, what about the song? He was like, yo, dog, that beat
hard.
I'm like, yo, Mick.
Oh, he don't want to tell you.
Skills. I'm like, yo, but Mick, what about the song? He's like, yo, let me get that beat. I'm like, nah. Like, what you mean? I'm like, nigga, this is about to be
my record.
This is my single. He's like, yo, nah, let me get that beat.
Wow.
So I end up telling him where I got the beat from. And he gave me his advice. He was like, yo, I think your lyrics are on point. I think your delivery just needs to be cleaner.
Right. Little work.
Which
is dope that he would even do that.
Because a lot of cats wouldn't. You know,
a lot of cats wouldn't.
And I'm 21, 22 at the time. So I'm like, I appreciated it.
Right.
So fast forward, after that tape, it was always stuck in my head. Not even just what he said. Like my bars are always gonna be there.
Right.
It was just a matter of my delivery. And that stuck with me. I end up putting out a project, my first project in 2020 called Shut Up and Write. And
dope title, by the way.
Thank you. And that was
Double
inspired.
entendre.
Exactly.
I like it.
Shout out to my cousin, inspired by the whole Shut Up and Dribble movement.
Mm-hmm.
I end up hitting up Mick. And I'm like, yo, Mick, I need a verse.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, send it to me. I sent him the song.
Oh, shit.
Yo, Skills, I sent him the song. Yo! Yo, Skills,
Damn.
when I say I'm traumatized, I'm like, fuck.
Damn.
I know what that
what
means.
I gotta do to impress this nigga,
I'm
man.
like, I know what that means. Yo, that beat? I'm like, Mick, don't do this again, man. In my mind, I'm like, fuck. He's
right,
like,
because
yo.
the other time he did it stayed with you.
Bruh.
Like, don't do me like that.
He's like, yo, this shit is hard.
That's
I
dope.
fuck with it.
That's dope.
And he gave me a verse back that week.
That's dope.
So the record's called Love Me. Shout out to Mick. He came so smooth on that verse, man. And
Right.
I'm just so grateful. And that project is actually, shout out to Stolly, executive produced by my brother Stolly.
Yeah,
Had
that's dope.
Rob Markman on there, Gerald Walker, Mickey Fax. But yeah, man, it's just funny looking back at it 10 years ago. You know, nigga wanted my beat.
Nigga say, yo, that beat.
Yo,
that's
that beat.
That's the worst thing another MC could say to an MC.
Cause I'm like, what you mean? I'm like, yeah, the beat hard. What about the words? He's like, nah, it's that beat though.
You don't want to be fucking, you don't want to be a nigga and you play your homie a song. You say, yo, that beat, nigga. Nah.
yo, that beat. So every time
That's
Mick,
fucked up.
every time Mick hits me with a text on yo, I'm like,
You
fuck.
get like,
yo, I get paranoid as shit. But shout out to Mick, man. He did me a super solid with that, man. And I'm forever grateful with that. And my last one, it actually involves Mick as well. So going back to Daytwan Thomas, man, I met Daytwan at an event back in 2010.
mhm.
And he gave me so much gems from that. And I remember seeing him one day again on the LIRR, and I didn't have no money to get back home. He paid for
wow.
my train ticket to get back home.
Oh, wow.
And during that conversation, he's telling me about how he constructed the XXL Freshman list. And I told him how, like, my favorite cover, I think it was the 08 cover. It was the 08 cover, 0809, with Mickey Fax, Charles Hamilton, Blue, Wale, Currency, Kid Cudi, Ace Hood,
Right.
Asher Roth. I'm like, yo, this cover was so dope. And he was the one who put that was his last cover that he put, his freshman
Right.
cover. Fast forward 10 years, I'm the editor of Billboard. And, you know, I'm talking to Mick. Mick comes through with style. And, you know, we're chilling, me, Mick, Stolly, and just talking about hip hop and shit. I'm talking about how much I love that class. And I was like, yo, Mick, you know what I want to do? I want to bring back your class and do a moderate a group discussion with all 10 of them
Right.
at SOBs. Like, I was thinking that big, and we'll do a
Right.
Billboard piece around it. He's like, yo, tell me what you need, we'll get it done.
Right.
8 out of the 10 said yes. I reached out to Cudi's team. They were fucking with the idea. They were interested. They're like, yo, this could be something. Just for the nostalgic purposes, this could be something. That 10th person fucked it all up.
Was it Wale?
It was Wale. It was Wale. And I love Wale to death. That is my
That's
brother.
my brother. That's
my
brother.
brother. But Skirls, I saw him at the NBA Awards. I think this was 2018. And this is when we already had 8 of them down. And Cudi was a maybe. With chilling and Wale, he's a little lit, by the way. We're having dinner. I'm at his table, and I'm like, yo, I'm texting Stolly, like, yo, I'm sitting next to Wale, bro. He's like, yo, talk to him. Just see what he says. If it doesn't work, doesn't work. Shoot your shot.
Shoot the shot.
I shoot the shot, and I'm like, yo, I got 8 of them down, bro. And he's like, yo, Carl, why the fuck you want to do this, bro? I'm like, yo, for the culture. Like, this shit would be fire. Like, 10 years, all of y'all together, and a lot of people consider this class as a really dope class.
The best, one of the best.
Probably
best
one
ones.
of the best class.
Yeah, definitely.
First thing he asks me, yo, is Cudi doing it? And I said, maybe. Like, if Cudi ain't doing it, I ain't doing it. Like, why the fuck you stuck on the past? Like, I'm on a whole different trajectory. No disrespect to these niggas.
Right.
But I'm up here. They're down here. And this is when he had the single with Jeremiah at the time. And I'm like, God damn.
Tough ass single.
Tough,
big.
hard ass single.
Single was big.
Hard ass single. But I felt that moment. I understood, but I also was like, yo, this is when you kind of got to think beyond yourself. But you kind of said it earlier, like some niggas have the mindset where it's like, yo, it's me. Fuck the culture. Fuck trying to do right by the culture. I got to think about me. That conversation would have went down if he had said yes and Cudi was already a maybe. We would have put together, reintroduced 10 years later the 08 freshman class at SOBs.
That'd have been hard though.
B.O.B. Corey Guns. And I remember telling him, Mick was so sick when I told him, man.
Yeah.
Because he told Blue, he told Asher Roth, B.O.B. All of them were down.
Right. Damn.
And that's a moment. And there's so many stories I have like that, man. That's stories that were so close, it could have been at the finish line, and
missed opportunity.
Shit ends up being fumbled.
But shit, man, sometimes you just gotta keep shooting the shots. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. I don't get
turn into something else.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, I don't get dejected by that. And I'm always like, I'm a big creator, man. I just love creating moments. Right.
That's dope, man. That's dope.
So
damn, Wale didn't do the reunion.
Wale didn't do the
Currency.
reunion, man.
You got Currency on what was it?
Amalgam Digital.
Amalgam Digital.
I might have to Google that to see. I know they
yeah.
probably had 3 years in them.
and you wasn't a fan of Watch the Throne.
I
So
wasn't
we
a fan of
definitely
Watch the
agreed
Throne.
on that. You said you're a Gemini
and Mickey
as well.
Facts and Mickey Facts
hit you with the yo.
Hit me with the yo.
Give me that beat.
Let me get that beat, son. Pass me that
That's
beat, big
crazy.
dog.
That's crazy, man. So you say you're a Gemini as well?
Yes, sir. June 15th.
What's your birthday?
June 15th.
Okay, I'm June 2nd.
Oh, there we
So,
go,
yeah.
man. June
Yeah.
brothers. There we go.
Yeah. But I always tell people, I got two personalities, but they both cool as a motherfucker.
Yeah, like
You
you
know
know
what
what
I'm
I hate, man? They try to ping us as like these bipolar cats. I'm
Right.
like, I'm not. I wouldn't say all that. I have two sides, you know, but
Right.
nothing's just gonna hurt you or kill you
Right,
at the end of the day.
Big facts. So listen, man, before we get out of here, man, let the people know where they can get you at on social. You know what I mean? Where they can, check your work and whatnot.
Nah, most definitely, man. Y'all can find me on all platforms: Twitter, Instagram at the real CL TheRealCL numbers 24. On Twitter.
CL24.
Yes, sir. Instagram. Man, thank you, Skills.
Nah, man, thank you for having me, bro. I just appreciate you even taking the time to give me this moment, man. Because like I said, you had a publication that's super important to the culture, and we never really know who's behind that curtain. So to be able to shine some light on that, man, and your story and your confessions, man, was super dope, man. I appreciate you pulling up.
Most definitely, and I appreciate this because at the heart of this, man, like I said, my essence is hip hop, and I was just excited to be able to be on this platform, man, because this just breeds real hip hop right here, man. So I love it,
man. Thank you,
no
man.
problem,
Thank you.
man.
Appreciate you pulling up. Hey, yo, man, check it out. This is your boy Mad Skill signing off with my man Carl from Billboard Magazine, Hip Hop Division, and this has been Hip Hop Confessions, because everybody got one.
Here's a little story that must be told.
And it goes a little something like this.